Hey, it's Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo, and welcome to another week in review. And first of all, well, today's Saturday, and tomorrow and Monday are both going to be Passover, so I am effectively offline for, well, these 3 days. I'm completely offline, no comments, no responses, no nothing. Videos are all prepped and loaded, so we still have that all ready to go, but basically, I'm offline. Same thing's going to happen next week with Saturday and Sunday. The good news is I'm going to get a lot of gaming in. That's the good news. But past that, my last week in review, my energy was very down last week. I was watching it after I filmed it, and I realized that I was much more monotone than usual. And I think that was because last week I was under the weather to a degree. I was definitely like much more, my whole voice was bothered and just under the weather, being sick. It's a real thing. It happens to all of us. And speaking of which, thanks to basically everyone who, there were a lot of people who were just like, Alex, take a break. Don't do a video. Don't worry about it. Just give your voice a rest. And I really do appreciate it. I think that I know my boundaries. I think I know my limits. I think I know how far I can push myself. That said, one day we'll find out if I'm wrong. But I very much appreciate everyone who's thoughtful of my well-being. It means a lot. So I appreciate it. So from there, random stuff before we head to news, and then timestamps down below. We'll have news, what I played, the week in review, all of that. So first of all, regarding the couch, so something I realized, so Thinker, which is a channel that I've talked about before, I really like their content a lot, one of my favorite channels in terms of just, not all their content, I don't watch their reviews, nothing against the reviews, I just don't watch a lot of reviews. Most reviews I don't really watch. And that's a longer conversation, I'll save that for another day, but it is an interesting conversation. I do watch some reviews, but very infrequently, and more specifically, I search them out. I don't watch them if they show up in my feed. But, that aside, one of my favorite segments from them is they have these two segments that goes up every Monday in the alternate weeks, Kickstarter, Back Chat, and then like Chit Chat. I don't remember the exact names, but they're basically them sitting on the couch talking about board games. And I realized for the first time this week when watching that, I was like, that's the couch situation here. If they abandoned their couch and went to a studio kind of look, I'd miss the couch. I'd miss the casualness, the friendliness, the chillness of it all. And I think that was the first time I really appreciated just how much of a big deal the couch is. It really does make it seem more personal. At least, again, speaking for my perception of watching Thinker, I like watching their videos where they're on the couch. And I guess that's kind of a similar thing here, but I really for the first time understood that whole couch situation, because I always liked it, but the degree to which the audience liked it, the degree to which many of you were like, I want the couch back, I never fully grasped that until this past Monday. So that's just a random thing. I'll throw a link to Thinker's channel down below. Really solid content, you should watch that. And they also just opened up for YouTube memberships, so if you want to support them, they now have that option as well. So, past that, some channel changes, so to speak. So, not major channel changes, nothing crazy, but I will be switching the way I put out. So, we'll take a step back. So, I'm switching to putting out a second video a day for reviews, rather than throwing it all in a single day. So, what do I mean by that? Playthroughs, reviews, unboxings have all historically gone up on Saturday, even if it means I'm putting up 5 videos or 6 videos on Saturday, whatever it is. That's what I lump it all in there. I think I'm finally going to be breaking away from that. What I will be doing is playthroughs, reviews, and unboxings will generally, unless it's a big notable whatever, like if it's a review for, well, let's say Monster Hunter World, that might be its own dedicated day. But other reviews, playthroughs, and unboxings will likely be a second video of a day. So my goal is to have Saturday, we'll have the week in review on Saturday, and then maybe 1 or 2 videos max that day. My goal is to limit Saturday to 3 videos, caps, tops, whatever. And then if I have additional reviews I need to do that week, then they will be going up throughout the week later in the day as a second video. So I'll have my usual video at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, followed by a review going up, whatever time. I'm still playing with this, and in fact, your opinion would be very helpful here. What do you think's better? First of all, what do you think's better in terms of the decision in general? Do you think it's a good decision, a bad decision? Always, and again, the nature of feedback is, when I get conflicting feedback from people, I have to follow the general feedback as opposed to the individual. So it's always a weird feeling to have someone say, oh, thanks for asking, I'd like you to do X, and then I don't do X. It's always a little weird, but it's the nature of conflicting feedback. But yeah, so in general, the idea in general, what are your opinions on? Secondly is, what time do you think would be a good time for that second video? Because it's going to be later in the day. It's going to be a spread. And then thirdly, do you think it's better to do the review first? Maybe I do the review at 10 a.m. and then the daily video goes up at like 4, whatever it is, and lasts the rest of the day. So I don't know exactly. It may be something I'm going to play with, but the general idea is I want to stop putting out 5 videos in a day. I think it's just too much fatigue. Saturday can have 3 videos, including the weekend review. That's 3 videos inclusive, and after that it's going to be spread out throughout the week. So that's basically that. Opinions and thoughts welcome there. Secondly, something that I've already started doing, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm no longer always saying whether I'm keeping a game in the review itself. So I'll talk about the review, I'll give it a ranking, but I'm no longer saying whether I'm keeping a game. Now that's with great intent. And the reason for that is because as I have started to review more and more games, as publishers have sent me more and more games, the number of games I'm playing has, well, gone up. Last year I have to double check my phone, but last year I played something like, I don't know, 180 new games that year. Meaning basically in 2020, I played 180 new games that were new to me. And it looks like I'm going to completely crush that number in 2021. It looks like I'm on track to hit something like 250. And that's because I'm just getting more games. And so games that I otherwise would have considered worth keeping in my collection, the nature of just having more games coming in as a reviewer has changed the way I interact with content. I'm no longer just somebody who rotates their collection a lot, gets a lot of games, but is just another gamer. Now I'm getting content and a degree of games that I wouldn't get if not for the fact that I'm a reviewer. So I don't think it's fair to a game to say, well, I'm not keeping it when I'm not engaging with it the way a normal person would, if that makes sense. That said, I also know some people still want to know. Well, okay, great. So you play a lot of games. Congratulations. I still want to know what made the cut. I still think I want to know. And so to that end, what I will be doing is in the week in review, when I cover the games, when I cover the reviews I had last week, that's when I will cover my thoughts on whether a game is staying in my collection or not. But it's not going to show up in the review. The review is going to have my thoughts, my pros, my cons, what I liked, didn't like, what I can see others not liking, and then a score, but it will not necessarily cover whether it's staying. It still might sometimes, by the way. I'm not saying it never will. Sometimes old habits die hard, and sometimes it's just worth it. Sometimes I'm like, I love this game so much, and I'll be very obvious about it. Usually it's the 3s, by the way. The 4s and 5s are almost always going to be in the collection. It's usually the 3s that fall into that middle zone of fun games. I'm happy to keep playing it, but at some point, things have to go, and I have to pick and choose what stays. So that's going to be another overall channel change. And past that, that's basically it. Or one more thing. We have Jamie Stegmaier's newsletter. So this is just a little news thingy, but he puts out a newsletter every single week that I love reading. It's actually more than every week. It's like every other day there's a newsletter. And it's not on a set schedule, I don't believe, but it's a consistent. Not necessarily set, twice a week, but it's consistent in how frequently it goes out. And so it is a really, really solid newsletter. Anyone who wants to know anything about the industry, so to speak, if you want to get, if you like some of the viewpoints I have about things and you want more and better, well then subscribe to Jamie Stegmaier's newsletter. I'll throw a link down below, but it has lots of stuff from tips of how Kickstarter should be run, thoughts on how content creators should do this, how you should interface with that. Lots of fascinating stuff. I think is really, really incredible to read his stuff. He really is, the amount of content he puts out in terms of his newsletter. He has a YouTube channel as well, but I would say while I enjoy and appreciate his YouTube channel, it's really his newsletter where I read every single one because they are absolutely amazing. Just thought I'd mention that. And with that, let's head on to news. So, first of all, Gencon and Yom Kippur. This is one that I actually got asked about on Sunday's Q&A, but I had a note to talk about it, so I'm still going to talk about it. So, for those who don't know, Gencon was scheduled, and I don't know if there's been any update on this recently, but Gencon was scheduled for this year, and it's going to be on Yom Kippur, which is the highest of holy days for Jewish people. And that's just an interesting conversation because, and I was asked about it on my live Q&A on Sunday, but I don't really have a problem with it while also thinking things could be better, so to speak. Effectively, the short version is, in general, it's always going to be hard to accommodate everyone. I just think that's the nature of the world. There's a lot of cultures, a lot of holidays, a lot of different things people need to account for, and you won't be able to accommodate everyone. I just think that's life. So I'm not particularly bothered by the fact that they scheduled on Yom Kippur. It's not like, oh my gosh, how dare they? It's the worst, take reschedule it, whatever. I'm not. Keep in mind, by the way, it's easier for me to say this because my livelihood's not in danger in danger is probably a strong word. My livelihood is not hurt by this decision. There are many Jewish publishers who, Jewish people in the industry who may not go now, and that might be a blow to their ability to do X, to publicize their game, to whatever it is. So there are people who are more negatively affected by it. But I do think it is generally going to be hard to always accommodate everyone. So I think in general, inclusiveness and being able to accommodate as many people as possible should always be something everyone should strive for, but there is a balance between how often a particular segment is being marginalized in some way. If a regular occurrence was that Yom Kippur was constantly being scheduled, I would look at it differently. I would say you have to try to be inclusive to people in general. But a singular instance is not enough for me to do anything other than say, hey, I wish they had scheduled it differently. It's an interesting conversation. I got a few comments about it last week that I made a note to talk about. Then I got asked in the Q&A, so I talked about it there. But yeah, that's basically it. I think inclusivity is good. I don't think every instance of a lack of inclusivity is the worst. It's a balance that will always be hard, will always be a struggle. So that was going to be that. Then Sweet Mess, which if you don't know about it, is indeed a sweet mess. This is a Kickstarter that is, going through troubles and may or may not have issues delivering. And it is indeed a sweet mess with multiple Kickstarters. In fact, they have another one again. I think Onimaru maybe. They had another Kickstarter as well. They had maybe 3 Kickstarters. But basically, funds seem to have been mismanaged. Things, perhaps the best of intentions have gone awry. I don't know if it's best of intentions. I don't know if it's straight out embezzlement. That's something I'm not willing to speculate on. I'm not willing to make the judgment call on what the intent was. But the end result certainly seems to be a poorly managed Kickstarter that funds were appropriated for personal living and is in trouble. That seems to be the end result of it. And Fantasia Games, amazing people that they are. Disclaimer, I've taken money from them to do a pledge manager video. I have a relationship with them. I like all of them. So all those disclaimers. But those disclaimers aside, they basically are likely stepping in. Likely is the key word. They have an update on Sweet Mess, but they're likely stepping in to effectively rescue the Kickstarter. So I don't know what's going to happen next. I'll keep you updated as we know more. But awesome on Fantasia Games for even delving into this at all to try to do that. Good on them. I'm very excited, and well, hopefully we'll see more of an actual game out of Sweet Mess, especially for all those who backed it and were beginning to wonder if they would ever see their copies. Fall of the Mountain King. So this is going to be by Burnt Island Games. If you have not heard of this yet, Burnt Island Games, who put out In the Hall of the Mountain King, have a Kickstarter coming up on June 1st for Fall of the Mountain King. This is a prelude, story-driven, whatever, not story-driven. This is a prelude in the story of In the Hall of the Mountain King, but different game, different designer, different everything. Same artist, I think. I have double checked, but the art looked the same, so I think it's the same artist. Same company, obviously, and different gameplay, but, another game in the series. So I'm very excited for that one. Burnt Island Games in general, I'm a huge fan of their stuff, and I am very excited for Fall of the Mountain King. Definitely make sure to pay attention to that. Then we have Valor and Villainy sequel. So, Valor and Villainy, which is sitting on my shelf over there, unplayed, although now I'll be making an effort to play it, I'll tell you that much. But Valor and Villainy, basically, it hit my shelf, I wanted to play it right away, and then it kind of just got into the whole of unplayed games while I got other played games to the table. But they announced that they're going to have another Kickstarter coming soon with legacy light elements to it, an expansion to Valor and Villainy, so I will be getting mine out to see whether I like it and whether I want to get the sequel. But basically that's the situation there. And that's going to be my overall news, which brings us to what I've played. And as usual, I have not updated this to the point that I should, but if I go to all my plays, bunch of games here. So, starting from Thursday, we have Zombie Kids Evolution, got a few games of that in. We have Arma, some more. Arma was the game I played with Rena. That's on Kickstarter. It's really struggling. I don't think it's going to fund, unfortunately, but it's expensive. It's an expensive game, but Arma was a lot of fun. Surprising amount of fun, honestly. It's one of those games that we played it, not expecting to have that much fun, and then other people saw it and were like, that doesn't look fun at all, and we're like, no, play it, and then they played it and they couldn't stop it. I think Crokinole is the better game. I think Arma is arguably more fun. I mean that genuinely. Arma is arguably more fun. Then we have Cusco. Got a game of Cusco in. Got that done. I'm doing a review on that one coming up in a week or two. I have Hidden Leaders. Hidden Leaders is a Kickstarter coming up, and we got a few more games of that in. Cubitos, I have continuously been enjoying. I just put out a video on that yesterday, so Cubitos is going to be that. We have King of 12. King of 12 is a trick-taking game, sort of. I don't really consider it a trick-taking game. They called it one, but it doesn't feel like it at all to me. But that's going to be by Lucky Duck Games. Light, simple fun. I will have a review on it at some point. I don't think it's amazing, but I do think it's enjoyable, if that makes sense. We have have Nova Lux. Nova Lux is, Nova Lux. So Nova Lux, I will be covering Nova Lux and Impendium, and I got a game of Nova Lux in, just, prepping to learn the stuff. That was my first time playing it. I got some Abalone in, Abalone with Ricky. So if you haven't played Abalone, it's an abstract game with marbles where you push them along. Very solid game. Gets old with time, but my kids still like it, and she broke it out, and I got a few games of that in. Funfair. I got a game of Funfair in with Ricky. I'm going to be doing a review of that at some point when we have a chance. Ugly Griffin Inn. So my Kickstarter of Ugly Griffin Inn and Food Chain Island came from Button Shy Games, and Ugly Griffin Inn, I played a game, and I was like, that's it. I'm not keeping this one. It's not bad, but there are other games better. And then I decided before getting rid of it that I'll play it with the additional cards and whatnot. And the more I played it, the more I enjoyed it. So I still don't think it compares to Sprawlopolis, but it does have an interesting and slightly unique and fiddly charm going on for it. So ultimately, Ugly Griffin Inn is staying in my collection for now. I don't know if I'll have a review on it. At some point, I want to do a review of the Button Shy games in some way, but I don't know how to group them. So at some point, I'll do some content around there. Got some Crokinole out. Playing Arma inspired us to pull out Crokinole so that we can, the bunch of people basically, we want to try Crokinole to compare it to Arma. So we pulled out some Crokinole, got a whole bunch of games of that in. Aquatica. I got a few games of Aquatica in. I have a review coming of that one, but I'll spoil it to a degree. I really like Aquatica. That is a solid game. Not for everyone, I'm sure, but it is, I really like it. It feels different. It feels unique in what it's trying to do, and I have the expansion as well. So I'll be doing a review of the base game and the expansion. Really enjoying it. Volfarian, I got a game of Volfarian in, and then Long Shot the Dice game, which I believe there is a video going up today of Long Shot the Dice game. So we got another game of that in before the review. And that is most of what I covered. I played Monster Hunter World. We'll save any content about that for upcoming reviews. No spoilers there. And then I played Wild Ascent. I'm trying to remember all the things I played that I forgot to note. I played Magna Roma. I always forget to log some things here and there. And that might be it. That might be everything for the week. So, we shall see. So, from there, that is my week in review. Not my week in review, my gameplay in review. I need to think up a segment of, the segment's called What I've Played This Week. So, I have a name already, apparently. So, coming up today, this is Saturday. And this is the first Saturday where we are limiting the number of videos. Limiting is a strong word considering I still have 3 videos going up today. But we have the week in review, which you're watching now, at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I have a gameplay of Magna Roma going up with Rena. If we look a little tapped out, because I was watching the gameplay and I didn't feel the same energy that I usually have in a gameplay, and I'm pretty sure it's because we had just filmed the entire video and then realized the top camera was not on, and so we replayed the game. Now, the review we still did, we kept the review part, but we replayed the entire game for the video. So, and I think our energy, and it's late at night, so our energy is a little down that one, but it's because of that. Overall, I'll spoil it to agree. Overall, I think Magna Roma is a solid game. 3 out of 5. Not amazing, not whatever, but solid game. From there, what am I doing? What am I talking about? Today, I'm covering it today. I'm doing this in the wrong order. I forgot to cover the week, what's going on. I'm sorry. Okay, so, what did we do last week? Last Saturday, we had Zombie Kidz. Zombie Kidz is a game that I reviewed with Ricky, and overall short version, it's a game that's staying in our collection. We're most of the way through finishing it. Once we finish it, I'll probably get rid of it, and we'll play Zombie Teen. So that's going to be last Saturday. Then we had Santa Monica. Santa Monica is a game that I think I was pretty clear with that one. It's solid. It's okay. Not one I feel the need to own. One that I am, getting rid of because it was good. I would never turn down a game of it, but didn't feel the need to own that one at all. Then we had Master Ward. Master Ward is a game that I totally expected to play it and then get rid of it. That's what I expected. I expected I'll play it, I'll do a review, and then I'll get rid of it. It's a party game. It's a light, simple party game. I'll give feedback on it, all good, but not for me because there's a limit to how many party games we get to the table. But Master Ward is actually surprisingly fun. It's very possible, very, very possible that it will leave the collection within the next 6 months to a year if we don't pull it out and play it. That's entirely possible. But it was fun enough that I am currently keeping it with the hope that it's a game that we will pull out and play. And then finally, Arma. Arma is a great game that I'm incredibly happy I have the prototype for because it's an expensive game, and I like it. I'm very happy that I own it. I'm not here to tell you to spend $500 on it or whatever it is. I think it's a little less than that, but it's a lot of money for the game. It's handcrafted, made out of wood, whatever. It's a lot of money. Then again, I wouldn't tell you to spend $300 on a Crokinole set either. So it comes down to if that's the kind of thing you enjoy, then look into whether you want to spend money on it. I will say Arma was a lot of fun. That's what I'll say there. Bringing us to Sunday. Sunday was the live Q&A. I hadn't done one in a while. I wanted to get one in before we entered holiday season, and I'm offline for the next 2 Sundays. Generally, my QAs can only be on Sunday just because of the nature of, going to work and all of that. So Sunday had a Q&A, and it's good. I like doing the Q&As. They're fun to dive down to to talk to people, to be able to communicate a little more in real time. I wish I could do them more frequently. I hope to do more with Rena as well. But it's just, yeah, just a balance of time and everything else. And so that's the Q&A. Monday was open late pledges. So the short version of this is I went through 100 different games in a video. I talked faster than I usually do, apparently, which because I got a lot of comments saying I talk fast, which I already know, but I got more comments than usual saying I talk fast. But that is what happens when you literally look at your screen and you're like, I have to cover 100 games. So I definitely went faster than I usually do. And that's just the thing. But yeah, late pledges. Either way, the point is late pledges. That's the point over there. By the way, I'll cover this. I'll throw a link down below. Why not? There is a late pledge for Deep Space Armada. It's a game I have to look into. Someone's mentioned it to me a few times, and I just haven't had the time to look into it. And it's not on my list, so I keep forgetting when it's time to do whatever. But Deep Space Armada has a late pledge. Look into that. I don't have any context past that. I'll just throw a link down below because why not? Then we had Tuesday. Tuesday was a video called It's Not Special to Not Like Something. This is a video that I did because Rodney Smith put out a video, and in the video he talked about the fact he had the quote, "It's not special to not like something." And I thought that was a great quote. I thought it was a great quote. It was very solid, very on point. And so I decided to do a video on it because I thought it was a fun conversation. And the video did fairly well. It had a lot of comments, a lot of engagement, a lot of interaction, and a lot of things that made me decide to do 2 more videos on the subject. This is not 2 more videos doubling down on the same point. I said my point, and it's time to move on to other points in the conversation. So I will have 2 more videos. I'm likely going to alternate weeks, so it's not 3 weeks straight of that, but likely 2 weeks from now I'll have another video, and 2 weeks later I'll have another video. But I think there's interesting conversations to be had in general around negativity, social media, all these different things, and there were enough interesting points brought up, or I would say people who thought I was saying something that I wasn't, that I want to do 2 other videos in this series. I know what I want to talk about in those videos. I'm not going to talk about it here, but they're not the same point. It's not 2 more videos saying, hey, don't be negative. That's not what it is at all. But it is going to be different spins or different aspects, different viewpoints of the general conversation around being negative, social media, being affected by things, all of that. But overall, yeah, I think in general, it is true though. I think it's not special to not like something. It doesn't mean there's not a room for critical discussion. It doesn't mean there's not a room for negativity, but it means there's a time and place for it. And we have to evaluate what that time is, what that place is, and how to best do it, frankly. That was Wednesday. That was Tuesday. Wednesday, we had 24 epic campaign games. This is a list of 24 games that are not all going to stay in my collection. Just the practical reality is they will not. Now, most of them are not even in my collection yet, but they will be at some point. Now, I will note that I did miss Chronicles of Drunagar. Someone pointed out that I forgot to talk about Chronicles of Drunagar, which is a game that I have pledged and is very much a campaign, and I absolutely forgot that. But other people also pointed out that Unsettled, I did talk about, and Unsettled is supposedly one-shot based. So, you know, still 24, just 1 in, 1 out. So that's that. Then we have on Thursday. Thursday was Robinson Crusoe. Should you back it? Robinson Crusoe is a game that I did not plan on backing. I was totally fine with it. I saw it on GameFound. I was like, oh, GameFound, sure, miniatures, who really cares? And then a month later, when it finally went up, I looked at it and am backing it in the end, primarily because of the scenario book and the learn to play guide. It looks like it's being made more accessible, and I value that far more than the miniatures or anything else. That said, there are going to be stretch goals or daily unlocks, whatnot, across the 19 more days of the campaign, which means more goodies, supposedly valued at €115, but obviously you're paying more as well, so it balances out. But overall, I think it'll hold its value just fine if I don't want to keep it in the end. But I want to play every game in the top 100, so Robinson has always been one that I reluctantly let go, and I'm excited to actually be able to delve into it and see if it's a game for me. That was Thursday. Friday was Cubitos versus Quacks of Quedlinburg. This is a Play This Not That. Play This Not That is a series that I am trying to bring back to the channel on a more frequent basis. In fact, I have one coming up next week as well with 2 notable titles, and then I have one coming up a few weeks later. So I'm starting to try to bring them back. I don't know if they're going to be weekly, but I'd love to do them at least on a monthly, if not twice a month basis. I always enjoyed Play This Not That, and I think now with my new setup and different whatevers, I think I can do a better job of it visually. I never really liked the idea of just holding up 2 games and talking about them. It always, even when I didn't hold up games at all, it always felt a little weak. So this is going to be Play This Not That is coming back to the channel in general, assuming they do decently. If they don't do decently, maybe I'll shove them in as the extra video of the day. I like comparing games. We'll see, but hopefully they do well. And by the way, I'm filming this before Cubitos has gone up. So I have no idea whether that's going to do well, but I hope so, I guess, right? We'll see. So that is everything there. Saturday, which brings us to today, which I already started talking about. But Saturday has the weekend review today at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We have Magna Roma. I already talked about that one. Short version is solid game. Check the video for more information, timestamps if you want to skip directly to reviews or whatnot. And then at 2 o'clock, we have Long Shot the Dice Game. Long Shot the Dice Game is a roll and write popping up on Kickstarter, well, I think next week on the 30th, I think. I'm pretty sure it's the 30th. Whatever it is, popping up on Kickstarter next week. Long Shot the Dice Game, playthrough and review of that. Then on Monday, see, this is where I'm going to start telling you when reviews are coming throughout the week. Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have a playthrough and review of the new content for V-Commandos. So V-Commandos Ghost, which is the new content in the V-Commandos Deluxe Kickstarter coming up. But I have new content coming for that on Monday at 4 p.m. So after our regular 2-back or not to back. Do I have a 2-back? Yeah, I have a 2-back or not to back. After that, we will have 4 o'clock p.m. will be a V-Commandos Ghost video or whatever. And then past that, next week, coming up next week, Sunday, we have upcoming Kickstarters for April. April? Yeah, March, April. That's right, April. Upcoming Kickstarters for April will be going up Sunday, where I talk about 20 or so Kickstarters that are going up in April. And then Monday is going to be 2-back or not to back. This week we skipped it because light week, but this coming Monday we will have 2-back or not to back again. And that is basically it. That is everything we can review, coming up, schedule, all that. I will see you again on Tuesday. I will be back online Monday night, but I'll be dealing with 3,000 emails, so I probably won't be in the comments until, well, Tuesday, where I can start catching up from everything going on, all the videos and everything that dropped, because there'll be like 6 videos. It's going to be a ton of stuff. Hey, it's fun. It's always fun. Until next time, I am Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo. I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you enjoy the weekend. Have a great long weekend. Happy Passover to those who celebrate, and I will see you throughout the week with, well, more videos. Until next time, have a good one.